You're going to be awarded the Peggy Lillis Foundation Advocate Award for 2024 in November. Can you talk about your advocacy work with PLF and how you feel about accepting the award?
Sure. Well, I'm certainly extremely honored. The reason that I do this advocacy work is, as I mentioned before, I know what it's like as a survivor to have suffered through this infection. I know how isolating and dehumanizing, and I know the stigma that's attached to it. I understand the pain and the hopelessness that people feel when they're going through this type of infection. So, it, once I recovered, it just seemed incumbent upon me to be able to reach out and reach back to the people who are still in that bed and offer them the hope that I didn't have and the support that I didn't have, and try to create that kind of community for them. So that's extremely important to me. It's just really a service to others. I don't have a solution. I'm not a scientist. I'm not big pharma. I'm none of those things. But it's difficult to for any of us that are patient advocates that have are survivors. It's difficult to relive our own trauma in reaching out to patients who are currently ill. It takes some skill and experience to pack away our own trauma, but it's a toll worth paying. Anything that we can do to help and honor those people who are still fighting, and to honor those people who have also lost the battle, because it is a often fatal infection. And then on top of that, I'm really proud of the work that Peggy Lillis Foundation is doing together with all of my fellow advocates and other healthcare providers that are part of the foundation to help sort of influence public health initiatives. One of them is a current bill that we're fortunate enough to have. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke in the House has sponsored a bill, a House bill currently. We were just up there on Friday giving a briefing, and that is to make C. diff a nationally notifiable disease. It is an urgent health threat as recognized by the CDC, and it it uh, it goes hand in hand with antibiotic resistance and antibiotic stewardship. So, C. diff, whether or not you're aware, is antibiotic resistant superbug. And we feel that the cornerstone of being able to develop any kind of treatments and awareness around this disease means that we have to recognize that it's there to begin with. And I think, particularly after COVID, that people are more aware of this type of need of tracking cases.
Absolutely. And you had mentioned your advocacy, and you've had past experience, executive management positions related to regulatory affairs, interacting with FDA and comparable international health agencies. How has that experience helped prepare you for your advocacy with the foundation?
Well, part of doing regulatory work is being able to work within cross-functional groups, whether that be research and development, marketing, um, quality, safety, efficacy, clinical trials, reading regulations and understanding them, understanding scientific methods, um, and being able to analyze and distill down sometimes very complex um, information into decent sound bites for the average person to understand. So I think that, not specifically one particular thing about my regulatory experience, but overall just 30 years of general experience in sort of building those coalitions either within a company or across an industry is something that definitely lends itself to the work that we do with Peggy Lillis, because we do work together with healthcare professionals, with pharmaceutical companies. There are two that we've worked together with in terms of helping to bring their new therapeutics to market that actually treat recurrent C. diff for adults, anyone 18 years of older that isn't involved with fulminant disease, and it does not work for pediatrics, or it's not approved for pediatrics at this point. But we've been involved with doing that, and so I think that that's the way that my regulatory experience helps the most.
And just lastly for you, what would you like the general public to know about C. diff?
I would like them to know that C. diff is an antibiotic resistant superbug, and it takes advantage of people whose microbiomes are weakened by taking antibiotics. But what I do want people to understand is it's their responsibility, as part of this human race, that they need to be very selective about when they ask for an antibiotic, that it's not appropriate for antibiotics to be prescribed for viral illness, for example. I also want them to know how highly contagious it is. And so one way they can protect themselves is by washing their hands with soap and water. Hand sanitizer does not kill the spores of C. diff. And so there are preventative measures that they can take in order to give themselves a leg up in trying to avoid this horrible, horrible infection.